Hi, today we're continuing to work through our Celebrate Theory Level 3, and we're still in Unit 2. There was one more point that we needed to cover before you complete Unit 2, and that was transposition. Now, transposition is when we change what register of the piano that we're using. For instance, in songs, some composers incorporate transposition or they change keys in the middle of a piece and come back to the original key because they might repeat a section in another key. We use it in other music to create more of a climatic feel or build some tension as we go from a higher register to a higher register. Or it could just be that a certain selection needs to be written and transposed into a different key to suit another instrument, or transposed because maybe a soprano needs something written in a little bit higher, or it has to be changed into an alto voice to be more accommodating to the vocal range of the singer. So transposition can be a very important aspect of music composition. So register refers to different octave ranges, different registers on the piano. For instance, if I was going from C to C, I have a middle range octave range here. I can move higher to a higher register, an even higher register, or I can go the other direction and move to a lower register on the piano. So that's what we're dealing with in this lesson. We're not actually going to be transposing to another key. We're going to be dealing that later on in another theory program. But in this particular one, we're going to be transposing up to a higher register or to a lower register. In this unit, you're going to be transposing within treble clef or within the bass clef, but we can also transpose things to different registers from treble going into a bass clef register. So I will cover a little bit of that as well. Now, to do this, I need to share the crescendo music program again. Just give me a second to share screen. So the unit starts off with dealing with C's. So if I had a middle C on the piano and I was asked to transpose this one octave higher, octave refers to 8 notes. So 8 notes higher from this C, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's my higher C. So that would be an octave higher. I'm just going to delete some of this because I actually want to write some music in here. If I wrote, let's say I had a melody of C, D, E, D, and they asked me to transpose this an octave higher, I would go 8 notes higher, and I would start on this C, and every single one of those melodic notes are going to be exactly 1 octave higher. Now, if I had this middle C and they asked me to transpose this an octave lower, I would need to go into the bass clef, and 1 octave lower in the bass clef is that C. So I can transpose the same melody an octave lower in the bass clef, and this note as well, an octave lower from there. If I was asked to transpose this an octave lower from that point, I would go down 8 notes farther to that C. Oops, and then I have D, 8 notes lower. Okay, if I take this original C, actually I'll delete this so I can do it side by side, and they asked me to transpose this one in the bass clef 1 octave higher, I can write the same thing in the bass clef 8 notes higher using ledger lines. And there's my octave higher from my low C range to 8 note higher range on the keyboard. So in this, the next few pages, they're going to give you one line of melody, and it looks like I just pressed play. They're going to give you 1 note line of melody, and you're going to be asked to transpose that either an octave lower or an octave higher. Again, they're sticking with the key of C major, so you don't have to transpose to a new key in this level until page 18. So on page 18, they give you keys of D major, So again, it would be the same thing if I was in the key of D major and I had my 1 sharp. I'm just looking here for key signatures. There we go. So if I was in the key of D major, like they gave us one, and they gave me a melody, I'm just going to use whole, whoops, the key signature didn't stay. And I'm using whole notes here, and they gave me a melody of D, G, F sharp, G. And they asked me to transpose this an octave higher. I would just go up 8 notes, D, G, and we have F sharp, G. So the key signature right now is going to be irrelevant because you won't need to write them in. They also give example in F major, so there's 1 flat, but just always look at your starting note and you either count 8 notes higher if it's going to be an octave higher, or you count 8 notes lower if they want it an octave lower. You're only dealing in transposing an octave away, a different octave range. So I hope this helps. After that, you have page 20 and 21, which is a review. On previous videos, I've gone through analyzing a piece of music. They'll give you a list of questions, analyze the key signature, what is the time signature. So they're just getting you to really look through and note details in a piece of music, which will also help you in learning your own music and playing it on your own. So that would conclude Unit 2. And in Unit 3, we're going to be talking about rhythms, time signatures, and grouping of notes. So please join me for Unit 3 video coming up next. Thanks very much.